when I was 15. I had met this guy and everything seemed to be going well. And pretty much, I think it was about 4 months into the relationship, he called me my first name, which was a wench. When I was about 15, I met a guy and we dated. It started over little things. You know, he would tell me that I was stupid and that I was ugly. After about a year, he got violent and aggressive. The names just kept pouring in, and pretty much, my name wasn't even Jessica anymore. And he would, you know, shake me or kick me. I wasn't allowed to talk to any of my guy friends anymore. I couldn't hang out with the girls if there were gonna be guys around, anything like that. It got to the point where he would eventually just ignore me, neglect me, and I felt like I wasn't even there most of the time. And then I broke things off for a little while, but then he convinced me that he wouldn't do that anymore. So I got back together with him.
I think a lot of people are naturally aggressive.
In movies or shows, there's a lot of like violence or like jokes about women, and I think people think it's okay because it's a joke.
What we find is that the domestic violence is cyclical. Young people learn to be violent by watching other people be violent.
Everyone has emotional boundaries, and are you willing to accept someone to swear at you or call you a name? And that's different for each person, so you have to know those before you're getting into a situation.
When all the names were coming at me like that, I pretty much felt just completely disrespected and more or less confused as to why someone who says that they love me would call me names like this.
I think words are sort of like a tube of toothpaste. And I ask the kids, you know, you have a tube of toothpaste and you try to squirt the toothpaste out, you get too much. Did you ever try to put it back in the tube? Bullying is also about power and control, and we know that domestic violence is about power and control as well.
About 6 months in, he started just being manipulative, and I could tell he was lying to me about things. They start trying to control what you wear, what you do, like who you hang out with.
You never listen to me, you're so selfish.
He would constantly check up on me, and any guy that I was friends with, he thought that, you know, they were trying to sleep with me or date me.
I wasn't allowed to wear skirts ever. I wasn't, you know, tank tops. You know, the strap could be a good 2 inches.
I don't want you talking to your ex-boyfriend, and I really don't like it when you talk to these 4 other girls.
When I was in school with him, I had my eyes always had to be directly locked onto his. If they ever wandered away, he would get so angry, and I wasn't allowed to smile walking down the hallways in school because that was considered flirting.
My ex-boyfriend was like, if you leave me, I'll kill myself, I'll kill myself. And he would like cry on the phone. And I stayed with him for 2 extra months, more than I wanted to.
He would get upset or something, or be mad at me, or just angry, and he would cut himself in front of me with a razor blade. And I would have to sit there and watch him slice his stomach open, slice his arms.
But I do know a lot of girls who are like sexually pressured or like have been raped. I think that it's important to remember that a boyfriend who you've been, you know, willingly sexually active with before still can rape you. And just because you've had sex before doesn't mean that your boyfriend can have sex with you whenever he wants.
The first time he ever physically abused me was at a soccer game, and he got mad at me, and he twisted my arm up behind my back until it nearly felt like he broke it. And then the second time, he went through one of my closets where all my pictures were, and I had one picture left of this guy that used to be my best friend. And he found it, and he told me he was gonna rip it up. So pretty much I took the picture and I ran into my room, and he was cursing at me, coming after me. So I laid like flat down on my stomach with it, and he took my other hand up behind my back and he twisted it, and he just kept twisting it until I had to give him the picture because the pain was so unbearable. A few weeks later, we had a big argument, and every time that I would cry, he'd get more and more angry and yell at me even louder. So I would just cry harder and harder, and this went on until he finally grabbed me by the neck and he choke slammed me to my own bed, and he put his fist up in the air.
At the end of my senior year, there was one night in particular where I went over to his apartment. He was drunk. He raped me. He took my keys and threw them out the window. He took my phone and threw it. He held a knife to my throat while he was raping me. And I think that that really clicked to me that this is completely insane and why am I subjecting myself to this? And because it was like my last week of senior year, and I was just thinking, you know, all my friends are having fun and so happy that we're graduating, and why am I dealing with this right now? It should be such a happy moment in my life, and it's not.
You know, I'm so sorry, you know, this is never gonna happen again, I can't believe I did this, and, you know, I figured, okay, you know, he loves me, and it's not gonna happen again.
It seemed bad when it was happening, and then afterward when he would apologize, I would say, oh, maybe I was making too big a deal out of it, or, you know, maybe it really was my fault, or maybe he didn't hit me as hard as I remembered it.
My life was his life, and I felt like I needed him to survive. Honestly, that's why I couldn't leave him, because he was so in control of me that I felt like, well, I'm not an independent person anymore, and I need him.
If you're in a friendship or a dating relationship, you really need to listen to your gut. And if your gut is telling you that this situation's not right, you need to listen to it.
You know this is wrong. You know it's wrong. And that's why you need to just trust your instinct, and you just need to go get help immediately.
I talk a lot about trusted adults because a trusted adult can be a different person for everyone. Your trusted adult might be your coach. Your trusted adult might be your mom. Your trusted adult might be a police officer. So whoever that person that you really feel comfortable talking to, I think that that's who you should talk to. But make sure you talk to somebody to just say, is this okay?
Susan B. Anthony Project offers services for all of Litchfield County with domestic violence and sexual assault. But there are 6 towns also that offer domestic violence services, and that would be women's support services. So if they need help, you can always call Susan B. Anthony Project or Women's Support Services, which both offer counseling and a 24-hour crisis line.
The way that counseling helped me that talking to my friends couldn't was that I didn't feel like I had to monitor or edit what I told them. I could just be completely candid about what was going on, and even though they would act, you know, shocked and surprised at certain things and the more extreme violence that was going on, I didn't feel judged.
My guidance counselor became like my best friend. I was in there every day talking to him and just let him know what's going on and if I ever needed anything.
In a healthy relationship, you should both be your unique individuals and then be able to come together and be a couple.
Being in a relationship where you're being degraded and told what to do, what not to do, or being physically harmed in any way, it's not worth it to stay in, because you never know. Things usually do get much worse. Love is not abuse, nor is it restrictions or pain. True love is really about an equal respect from both people.
Love is like also allowing that person space. Like, you know, I love my boyfriend, so therefore I don't call him like every 5 seconds. I don't, you know, always want to like bother him with, you know, my girliness, and like, you know, I give him his space, he gives me mine. Like I don't want him to be uncomfortable.
A lot of guys think that they need to be this macho man, but most girls like want someone who can, you know, protect them, but also have an emotional side.
Who said that I can't be weak? Who said that I can't be emotional? I want to meet that person. Because honestly, that's not real.
Sometimes it's the girl who's abusing the guy, or the girl who wants to pressure the guy into sex. So it's not always the other way around.
Yeah.
And not all guys just want to have sex. Like some guys actually want to get to know a girl.
Abuse doesn't see a specific race, religion, gender, anything like that. It can happen to anybody at any time in their lives. It's not a certain person that is an abuser or a certain person that can be abused. It happens all the time with people you least expect it. So you need to always look out, and you know, you need to ask yourself, you know, if you think you might be in a controlling relationship, maybe ask yourself, well, does he or she tell me what to do, tell me what to wear? Does he or she ever call me names, put me down in front of other people? Does he or she ever physically harm me, keep me away from my family and friends? You know, certain questions like that can really help to determine if you are in an abusive relationship.
Something that I always regret is that I feel like I really wasted away my last few years of high school because I didn't get to enjoy them, even like my proms, and when I was sitting at school or with my friends or at cheerleading practice, he was always in the back of my head, and knowing that my day was going to end with us fighting or him being abusive, and I didn't want my college experience to be like that too, because I really do feel like I missed out.
When I was 15 and going through all that, I really did not think that I'd ever be here, sitting in front of a camera, talking about my experience and being as strong as I am today. I felt so weak back then, and I really never thought I would be able to get through it, and then to not only get through it and gain strength, but to help others as well, and it is just amazing.
You deserve someone who's going to treat you like like you're the greatest thing they've ever seen. You don't need to be with someone who's going to put you down and make you feel awful just because you want to be with someone. It's better to be alone than it is to be with someone who treats you badly. Mm-hmm.
Someone better always comes along. Even if you don't think so, it always gets better, and someone better always comes by.
Since I ended things with my ex-boyfriend, my life's gotten a lot better. I feel safe all the time. I'm not always looking over my shoulder. I don't always have to account for where I am or who I've been with. I've gotten closer. I've formed a lot of new friendships. I've been able to focus a lot more on myself. My grades have gone up a lot. I have a 4.0 at college, and I was doing poorly in high school, so I can really see that I would have been able to do a lot better and do a lot more things had he not been in my life.
So, if you have a problem, you should call this number because you really don't have anything to lose, right? It's 888-774-2900.